Okay, I am here in beautiful Chamonix, France. It is July 12th, and I've been here for a couple weeks now. We ran our first trip here in the Alps, started June 30th, finished July 8th, and we've been off to a great start with worldwide trekking and coming back after a year of our pandemic and being locked down to be able to do only domestic trips. We're now doing international trips, and we've run a number of successful international trips. We had a great summer last year in the fact that we were able to operate in southern Utah. I personally guided 10 groups through our Mighty 5 adventure in Utah, and it was fantastic. I can tell you that I travel all over the world extensively, and Utah is at the top of the list for natural beauty and a really fun adventure for groups. That being said, we started off our first trip in May to Peru, where our group trekked to Machu Picchu, and they had an amazing time. They went up the Salcantay route to the lost city of the Incas, Machu Picchu, and they made their way from lodge to lodge. These luxury lodges that we use are incredibly beautiful. There's great private dining, hot tubs in the evening, and they're a lot of fun. And then, of course, they're trekking through the Andes mountain range, the highest mountain range in South America, the second highest mountain range in the world. So it is really a fun activity to trek to Machu Picchu. They make their way into Aguascalientes, they tour the Machu Picchu ruins, and they're also able to tour a number of other Inca sites like Ollantaytambo and the Sun Gate and other things along the way. So from Cusco to Machu Picchu and back, our group had a fantastic time. Just like all of our trips right now, to fly, you need to get a COVID test, which is very easily done. A day or so before you travel, you go to one of these COVID clinics. You basically do a saliva-based test. You get the results online, and then when you board your airplane, you're good to go. Every country has a little bit different stipulation as to document that you might need to fill out, but once you come up with a negative COVID test, it really is easy to travel internationally. And one of the big highlights of starting to travel now and traveling early as we start to open up is our group in Machu Picchu virtually had the Machu Picchu ruins mostly to themselves. It was very, very quiet, and they were able to enjoy that without all the crowds. So we always try to avoid the crowds, but this is a special time in so many ways as we start to get going, to be able to avoid big crowds before travel really starts coming back again as normal. After that trip in May, I guided 2 groups through southern Utah. Our Utah Mighty 5 National Park adventure is spectacular. We go to unique and special places in each national park. So we visit Zion and Bryce, Capitol Reef, Arches, and Canyonlands National Parks in southern Utah. But we're also able to visit a number of other historic sites, small old villages, historic western villages, and geological sites, Native American rock art. So many things to see in southern Utah. So it really is a fun adventure for groups, families. If you have a family of 4, 5, 6 people, it's fantastic, and we can send you down there with a private guide. As we started to go internationally, of course, we went to Machu Picchu in Peru. I had made my way over to Nepal to scout out a site for a new medical clinic that we broke ground on with our Human Outreach Project nonprofit. It was also be able to see some of my crew, and we'll look forward to operating starting in October back in Nepal on our trek to Mount Everest Base Camp. And then we started to travel, and it was really nice for me as the owner of Worldwide Trekking to start to get guides into the field. I was able to send a guide to Machu Picchu, send a guide to southern Utah, send a guide now to Kilimanjaro. We just ran 2 successful groups to Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, Africa, 19,341 feet. They both did the Machame route. They had a fantastic time. Most of them afterwards went on a safari. Some went on a safari prior to the Kilimanjaro climb, so everybody got to do a safari, which in East Africa, the wild game parks like the Serengeti, Lake Manyara, Tirangiri, some of the tribal visits that we do are absolutely spectacular, and most of them do like a 4-day safari before or after one of our Kilimanjaro climbs. So that was really great. They've both finished now. They're both very successful. Again, we aligned their COVID test coming off the mountain so they could fly home with no problem. Most of our guests are vaccinated, and things are starting to get to the point where vaccine cards and vaccinations will overtake COVID test. We're not quite there yet. We're still COVID testing, but every place is a little different. I just finished here in the Alps with our Matterhorn to the Mont Blanc adventure, and I had a group here. We met them in Geneva, Switzerland. We went over to Zermatt. We spent 2 nights in Zermatt in Switzerland, a night in Verbier, Switzerland, 2 nights in Aosta, Italy, Comaire, Italy, and then over to Chamonix, France. So we went through Switzerland, Italy, and France. They had COVID tested prior to flying into Europe, and then once they arrived, there was no problem crossing the borders from Switzerland to Italy, from Italy into France. Everything went very, very smooth. So we had these amazing adventures in all of these alpine villages. We used lift-assisted access to gain access to the high alpine areas and do our hikes. We explored villages, had nice dinners each night, and stayed in hotels each night in each one of these spectacular alpine villages. So it's been really a great start for us. Upon exit here in France in Chamonix, we had done our hike in the morning. Later that afternoon, we went down and went by the medical center. We did a COVID test. It was free of charge here in France. They took their test. That next morning, they got all their test results via email. The hotel printed them out, and then the following day, we brought them back to the airport, dropped them off in Geneva, Switzerland, where they returned home. So everybody has been having a fantastic time. We're back to international travel. It's Monday right now in Chamonix, France, where I am, and on Thursday I'll fly to Iceland, from Geneva to Iceland. I will meet my group, and we're going to do a fantastic tour through Iceland. We're going to visit the magma chamber, where we lower hundreds of feet down into a hollowed out magma chamber. We're going to visit the Magma Mui, these 2 volcanoes that erupted in 2010. We're going to do a number of great hikes. We're going to fly up to the fjords in the northwest corner of Iceland and take a boat out onto the Arctic Circle, get dropped off, and spend 2 nights hiking back across the nature preserve. And then in the end, right now in Iceland, there's a volcano that's currently erupting with lava blowing into the air and running like a river over the ground, and we're going to go visit that active volcano site as well. So it should be fantastic. We are really excited to be traveling again. You can contact us at Worldwide Trekking, and we can help you get organized as we move through. After Iceland, I come back to the Alps to run 3 more groups here in Switzerland, Italy, and France. And then we will be continuing on our schedule. We have a number of Utah trips in the fall, which is a fantastic time to visit Utah. We've got Everest Base Camp coming up in October, and then I'll be going to Patagonia in December, January to Aconcagua, February and March I'll be sailing onto the North Pole in April, and we're back in action. So we're excited to be doing our trips and running our international adventures, so contact us and we'd love to take you on one. Thanks for checking in, and have a good day.